What's up, geniuses? Welcome back to For the Record. I'm your host, Rob Markman. We are still in quarantine. We are still working from home, but I miss all my friends. I miss rap debates. So we got a little controversial topic, a couple of friends who really know hip hop, and we're going to talk about it. All right. Last week, DaBaby joined the Breakfast Club for an interview to promote his latest album, Blame It on Baby. And Baby dismissed the critics who say that he always uses the same flow and suggested that he could make a conscious album like J. Cole if he wanted to. So I brought a few friends to just talk about it, man. We're going to debate. Hopefully we're going to argue. I hope we all don't agree. First up, we have host and on-air personality, creator of the Letty Set Go podcast, Letty Peniche. What's up?
I love all these rap beards I'm seeing.
You should grow one. Next up, we have my man, my ace. He's the co-creator and co-host of the Rap Radar podcast, Brian B.Dot Miller. What's up, man?
What's going on, Rob?
Chilling, man. It's a good plaque in the background, man. I like that.
It's yours, actually.
And finally, man, we have the creator of the blog, Fake Short Drive. He's one of the most knowledgeable historians of hip hop. He's a guy that I always go to if I can't remember something or if I get a fact wrong. I always double check it with this guy. One of my favorite people to follow on Twitter, Andrew Barber, man. Welcome to the show for the first time,
My man. Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
Nah, we got to do this more for real, man. So, yeah, I just wanted to gather some of my friends. We're all at home, man, and just wanted to talk some hip-hop shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
So, DaBaby was asked about the criticism that he never switches up his flow, right? We've all seen the memes. And, he said he could rap circles around other rappers and said he can even make a conscious album if he wanted to. And I'm just going to read the quote and we're going to get into it. He said, I'll make a conscious album right now. I'll record the whole shit today. You get what I'm saying? On some J. Cole vibes, join the Lucas, I could get there too. But me, at the end of the day, I understand what's going on. You got to milk the game. You got to take advantage of it. If I switch it too quick, you ain't going to like it. You're going to be like, damn, baby, I want you to turn me up. I respect people having the confidence in themselves. But B.Dot, man, let's start with you. What did you take of Baby's comments when he said it?
I was kind of perplexed a little bit. I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like when he says a conscious album, what does conscious even mean? To me, conscious has a stereotype of rappers wearing kufis and chew sticks and JanSport book bags. And I think that's just like the stereotype people think of when they think of a conscious rapper. Because if I listen to some of Baby's music, it sounds conscious to me. He sounds like he's aware of his surroundings. He's aware of his environment and where he's at in the game. So I was kind of on the fence a little bit. Like, I didn't understand what he meant by that.
Right. Andrew, man, let's go to you, man, because I always love the context that you provide, right? Like conscious rapper, like B.Dot, when B.Dot describes what the stereotype is, I imagine Talib Kweli, I imagine a Black Thought, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
I imagine
right.
Mos Def. And these are the rappers that we think of, when we think of conscious. Is that traditionally what it is? Like when we really talk about conscious rap, what is it?
I mean, I feel like that's the box that you have to put it in. More so maybe just something with some substance to it, right? Not just party music. And I think that's kind of what he's getting at. Because right now, we're all trapped at home. We really can't go out and party. So I think maybe that's what he's saying. Like, I want to provide something with more substance than just the turn-up stuff. But what does that mean? I don't know. Is he going to make a raucous 99 album? Is that like what he's going for? That's kind of what I think he was saying, like something with more substance to it.
Right.
Like a sound bombing album.
Right.
Which, I'd want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Letty, I want to go to you because he used, actually, we talk about Kweli, we talk about Mos Def as kind of the stereotypes, but I think the modern day kind of stereotype or poster child is a Kendrick or somebody that DaBaby mentioned, J. Cole. He said, I can make a conscious album like J. Cole. I know you've interviewed Cole numerous times during your career. You guys have collaborated on projects as well. Do you think DaBaby can make a quote unquote Cole album? And would you want to hear it?
Yeah, I think he can really, if he can hit anybody like as similar to, it would be a Cole, because Cole is he's a very digestible mix of conscious and the lyrical, because you can be conscious and not be lyrical, and you can be lyrical and not be conscious. I think that's another common misconception. People think, damn, they have bars, they're conscious. It's like, no, that they're not giving me an elevated thinking. They're not making me be like, oh, wow. I think that's a key point in being a conscious rapper, is being able to get your listener to think on something they naturally wouldn't. Like, you are helping them create dialogue they probably wouldn't have within themselves. And I think Cole does that really well, where he gives you the medicine and the candy. And he can give you like a song you're bobbing your head to, and then sprinkle in, like, let's say his first single, for example, Lights Please. It was definitely a record about a girl. It was definitely a record about hooking up, but it was also sprinkling in some political thought. It was also sprinkling in some like conscious rap. And I think if DaBaby can shoot for anything, it is shooting for like a Cole type of vibe, because he already has the girl records. He already has the records that can make you bob your head.
Don't forget also, Cole told you don't save if you don't want to be saved.
Exactly.
Shout out about that.
But what does that really mean, guys?
What does that really mean? I'm kind of with B.Dot though, man. I like what you said. Like, what is conscious? Like, conscious is being aware of your surroundings. Like, I don't listen to Baby and feel like he's spitting gibberish or he's not telling me something. You know, remember on the Kirk album last year, he was praised because the first thing we heard from the Kirk album was the intro.
That intro, right?
About his father dying the same time he found out he was number one on iTunes. Like, he was really telling you a story. And everybody was like, oh, wow, this dude has another mode that he could tap into. He has a couple of songs like that in his catalog. And to me, he's a dope storyteller. So I'm like, I mean, if he could tell you a story and express a feeling, that's consciousness. You know, he might not be telling you, to go out there and protest, or, he might not have a fuck Donald Trump record yet, but it's not inconceivable that he could make one if he chose to.
Right. I think I'm definitely aligned with you in that regard, because it feels like as if, conscious rap is, like I said, is just a stereotype. You have to be Immortal Technique. And I feel like they're just, it's not so funny for Immortal Technique.
It's just funny that I'm just laughing at the stereotype, the ones that you throw out, like the poster child for this.
I think it's right, because we only hear that kind of music from them. We don't hear a party record. We don't hear a record that's geared more so for the women, or, for cruising in your car. It's just geared to.
And if they would try to do that, they would get flack for that. Like, if they would try to jump out and do something else, people would be like, oh, they're selling out.
Right.
So let's talk about this, right? Because this is the part that perplexes me, is the fickleness of the audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, the audience claims that they want conscious rap or a high level of rap and want everybody to be, of course, I think Cole is one of the biggest rappers that we have right now, undeniable. Kendrick is one of the biggest rappers that we have right now. I would say Drake, there's a lot of Drake that's conscious rap and fits into that archetype, right?
Where?
What you said?
Where?
I think Drake is conscious of his surroundings. He's not speaking on social issues.
You know what? As much as we're saying we don't want to stereotype conscious rap as like the activist, that is a big part of conscious rappers. It's not just speaking on issues, because where else is that? Like, what other? It's not activist rap. There's no such category. Do we speak on community issues? And not just are you speaking it, are you living it? Because just like the people you're saying, like a Kendrick or like a Cole, we have seen them rap about it and discuss it there, and we've also seen them activate in person and just be out there. And a lot of it is being conscious by example and caring about your community by example. And while I do see it with Drake's mentions of how he's helped people on record, I don't hear it so much. And even he said on, what's that song with Game? It's called 100.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, I would have all your fans if I didn't go pop and I stayed on some conscious shit. That's what he said. So I don't even think he would categorize himself as conscious. He can sprinkle it in, but there is a difference between sprinkling it in and like being it,
But what if he's actually living it though, versus actually saying it in lyric?
So he's a conscious person, but not a conscious rapper? Because rapper it denotes being like rapping about it. So.
Nah, that's fair. But look, that Drake line that you just spit out reminds me of B.Dot's uncle, Sean Carter. You know what I'm saying? B.Dot's rich uncle, Sean Carter.
Whoa.
Don't know the guy.
When he said, you know, I'd be rhyming like common sense. I sold 5 million. I ain't been rhyming like common sense. Like
The infamous line.
yeah, but it rings true, right? And that kind of goes back to the question I was hinting at before. Do the people really want to hear it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like outside of Kendrick and Cole, I feel like the rap fans have to demand it, and in a lot of ways, the audience just throws anything that's remotely conscious to the side. Like we don't value it as a fan.
Okay, so I think that DaBaby's been compared to Ludacris a lot, right? Like I feel like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, he's this generation's Ludacris," and he's looked upon as somebody, you know, who is kind of animated and has really exciting and funny videos, and you know, he kind of gets put in that box. So I remember when Ludacris kind of decided to make his mature album with Release Therapy. And
Runaway with Mary J. Blige, Runaway
right,
Love.
like that was his conscious record. Like he made a conscious decision to shift his content on that album, and he ended up winning a Grammy. He won a Grammy for that album. But he got a couple Grammys off that, right? So, you know, maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe I'm getting older. I want to make this shift towards that and try to get some credibility in that world. But, you know, will it work? Did it work for Ludacris? Yes and no.
Let's talk about the times when it didn't work. I want to go down memory lane. That's a great example with Ludacris. And I remember Runaway Love and that whole album kind of being a moment where people took Luda a little more seriously. Who are some of the other rappers that who were like popular and try to make a move to a conscious style? Like, remember when Lil B like really was like, "Hey guys, take me serious for my raps," and there was like songs like "No Black Person Is Ugly," "The Trap," "Chasing the Rain," and I don't feel that those were received as well as Ellen DeGeneres. You know what I'm saying?
You become like a figure of what it's like. I know you so much for one thing, and I think that's a listener problem. We know we are so many things, but for some reason we like to profile a certain person as just being one thing. Like you cannot get out of the category that I put you in. So it's so tough for me to get you out of there once you do step out. But even us, we're not just one thing. Like I don't know why we just choose to, or we're so resistant to when people show us other sides of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, limits what you can be as an artist. Like you shouldn't put those limitations on an artist.
I will tell you.
But it's up to the audience to decide.
You guys know someone named Too Short? Like, you know, Too Short's, what he's like known for is like the stripper records and just like what's my favorite word records. The first song I heard about him was Getting It. And that's a very conscious record. And I thought like, whoa, I need to listen to more of this guy. That was probably one song of like his whole category.
No, but he did. His Too Short singles when he was first coming out were all conscious, like The Ghetto, I Want to Be Free. Like he had, like that's what he would lead with. He would lead with these more songs that had more substance to them. Mm-hmm. And then when you got the album, you would hear the other stuff that you came for.
It's interesting. I wonder, and Baby strikes me as an artist who is doing what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the music that he creates and what he's putting out there is him doing exactly what he wants to do and what makes him happy. But I do wonder if there's like a yearning for him, almost like you said, to be taken more seriously. Like if that's a real feeling, almost like the Ludacris shift that we seen that got him a Grammy. And it always reminds me, shit like that always reminds me of, again, I'm gonna go back to B.Dot's favorite rich uncle, Fade to Black, the Jay-Z scene with Young Guru. Remember when there was the young rapper in the studio and he was just like, man, I only rap what the people want to hear. Like, I don't want to be rapping about this shit. And Jay turns to the camera and says, America, like, look, you got these rappers scared to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? And whether that's the Baby's case or not, I feel like a lot of rappers are scared to be their fucking selves. Like they may want to rap about one thing or put something out and they just do whatever's popular because, again, audience demand.
But I also think Baby's doing him. I mean, I
believe that. I believe in the case of him, I believe he's doing him.
Yeah, like he had an interview with me and he talked about like how he's not afraid to laugh. He's not afraid to smile in the videos. He says he's a popular guy. Like he's not a boring person to be around. So I think he wants to show his show his range. He could have a serious record like the intro, or he could showcase his bars like he did on a Dreamville record, Under the Sun. I think he just has a lot of different weapons, and he's just not like a one-dimensional kind of artist. That's what I look at like from.
And I think that's why people have gravitated towards him, because he's offering an alternative to a lot of the stuff that's coming out now.
I also see it as like strategy. Had he come out conscious, who would pay him as much attention? Like you go back to that whole line about rapping like common sense. It's all about strategy, and are you willing to deal with like a slow climb versus knowing what formula works, get there, and then once you're there, make people have to listen to you because you've gotten them to listen to you already.
Because Letty, you asked, maybe I should have put you on the spot.
Do it.
But before we went live, you were like, yo, when was Hov a conscious rapper? Like prior, like was he always this way? And I feel like there was always sprinkles in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that again, the line on the Black Album that we're talking about showed a yearningness. And now we get to this point, obviously, where I don't know that Hov's concern is with selling records anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, because if it was, he wouldn't make it title exclusives. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're trying to get the numbers. And for him, it's more about message and legacy. Like I feel like he's finally at the place where he can rhyme like Common Sense, where he can rhyme like Ko Ali, where he could do the stuff that he was maybe planning to do since the beginning, but knew that I had to drop a big pimpin' because, you know, we got to get, you know, my Jay-Z up. You know what I'm saying? I got to get the funds. I got to build this empire that I'm working on.
Well, coming from my, I could identify as a past Jay-Z hater. Who
changed your mind? Who made you realize that Jay-Z
you
was the
helped
GOAT?
that a lot. Rob, I'm going to give you a lot of credit. He made sure I listened to songs because if you're not
How
a
long
fan,
ago were you a Jay-Z hater? Like, we're
probably
talking
until like Nagging.
Yesterday?
Probably like until Magna Carta. Then I started turning the corner. But let me tell you why it was easy to hate him, because the argument is very much like all rappers have influence. What are you going to use your influence on? From what we heard on his like radio singles, his influence was on getting you to buy stuff, on whether it's the Cristal, whether it's the jerseys he's wearing. And it wasn't really where you have someone like me, I'm from the West Coast, who has like these figures like Tupac that used his influence to like change your mind or to get you to think a different way. I'm telling you the argument. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying this was the argument I had, right?
Okay.
So you bank on that, and it's easy for us not to dive into the album because we discredit him as such. It could have been sprinkled within the albums, but for the songs that we heard that were like on a mass scale, it was easy to be like, no, he's just making me buy something. Like he's just an ad right now with his influence, and of course, rightfully so. A lot of the braggadocio, a lot of the like showing off and look what I got, look what you don't got. You got to get up on this. That's part of hip hop. But now to see it turn around and him, like you said, him just be like, look, I got here and now here's my other messages. Like get up, like own things, like start treating each other better, things of that nature. So yeah, I'm reformed.
Yeah, nah, we got it. I'm gonna switch gears. Fuck it, man. This is we going off script now. Speaking of rappers who influence people to buy things, show of hands, who bought their first pair of Air Force Ones because of Nelly? I just want to know.
Nelly was wearing mids.
No.
I wore Chucks because Snoop had them, so I was influenced off that.
You know what's a good argument with that Nelly thing? I can't believe I'm bringing it up, but fuck it, man. We just having fun. I didn't get my first pair of Chucks until Wiz Khalifa. Like for me, Taylor Gang, like, and again, just being an East Coast person.
That's about right.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see. I mean, you didn't see those in music videos. Like people weren't wearing Chucks in New York.
Oh, wasn't Snoop wearing Chucks when he smashed down the buildings in New York?
But I'm talking about, but that's a West Coast artist. Like
I know, but you saw that video.
Oh, we saw it. Listen, man, we're not going to talk about that video. No. But check my argument. Is that I'm fully conscious that I didn't start, me personally, didn't start wearing Chucks until I saw Wiz do it.
Damn.
Like Wiz made it cool for me, or I was like, oh shit, you know what? I'm gonna get a pair of Chucks. I can admit that and still say I know 1000% Chuck Taylor's Converse is a Cali, it's an LA thing. Like I'm not crediting Wiz with the thing. I'm crediting Wiz with making popular for me while still giving credit, because it's not like Wiz can take the credit for Chucks. Like there'll be another riot in LA. And
Right.
And I think like a lot of the stuff that I've seen online about Nelly has been more from East Coast people. Like he was a god in the Midwest. I'm not sure he was a god on the West Coast or in New York, but he was the man in the Midwest, and people were definitely drawn on his fashion sensibility here. I think he brought Air Force One to the mainstream, but people were definitely doing them before that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Did you have vocal? Did you rock vocal?
I did not. I had no vocal.
You had a vocal
I never had a
tank top?
Band-Aid on my face. I did do the headbands. I didn't do the double headbands.
I did the double. I'm not even gonna lie. I did the double headband. But for me, look, shout out to LA. That for me, that was more so because of the Clippers. That was Darius Miles. That was Q Rich. Like I was doing the double headband when they was on the Slam cover.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I have one quick question.
Go ahead.
Did the black Air Forces get popular when the white Air Forces did?
The white Air Force has always been the most popular. Like the thing about the black Air Forces, I think it became a meme now, and it's just like out of hand. Like you could get away with rocking black Air Forces back in the day. I think it just took on a different connotation. But the thing is that it's such a staple in New York. Everybody wore 'em, including serial killers, and people who rob banks, and people who just walk down the street talking to themselves. So I think it became the unofficial shoe of that. But it was really the white on white things because it was a status symbol, because it wasn't even that you had to have the white on white Air Forces. You had to keep them white.
Clean. It had to be clean.
So if you had the black ones, you wasn't saying nothing. It was easy to hide a scuff mark on the black ones, but it was to have a clean pair of white Air Force Ones. So I don't know what also people are doing now with, because now it's like the style to have your Air Force Ones dirty. Like that was never like it looked like you had tea bags on your feet.
Distressed Air Force Ones.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I still can't do it. I see them and I cringe, and I mean I think that's just it's difficult to look at those and be like, man, I can't step out of the house with my shoes looking like that.
And I just want to say for the record, to Andrew's point, and B.Dot hopefully could back me up on this.
Yeah,
New York fucked with Nelly. Like I think especially 2002 when Dilemma was out, when Nellyville came out. Like I remember that distinctly being the song of the summer, and it was either you heard him or Ja Rule on the radio at every pool party, at every barbecue. Like I don't think there was ever any like Nelly hate from New York. Like we rock with Nelly. Like we even sided with him when he battled KRS. Like we was like, man, get KRS the fuck out of here. What is he talking about? Like he killed him too. He said, K, nobody ever really knows your name. Oh, you must be mad about something, man. That shit was hard, man.
And he's like,
and he did it on a state property song. That was on a state property song.
We was rocking with Nelly, man. I want to switch topics again one more time, before we get out of here. But, we were kind of talking about, I forget who raises the point, forgive me, but like in this time of distress, like feeling like we need music to also reflect that. And I also seen Ibrahim from Dreamville tweeting that yesterday, feeling like, yo, the music isn't really reflecting the mood right now. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Eve knows somebody who could drop something right now who could alleviate some of that. Do we think we're getting the J. Cole album any soon, man? I could really use a J. I think it would be a great time for a J. Cole album.
I mean, you have this number, Rob, so we could give him a call. But
not no more.
Letty definitely has the number.
I got the old BlackBerry email. The old J. Cole BlackBerry email.
I think I think these are the times that the conscious rappers were made for. Like, I think if there was any time that we really need these voices that do speak up and do so in such a great way where it gets across to so many people, it's times like these where we're kind of like looking for our own representation. Whether, like, I always feel like everyone has their mayors coming out and their governors and like the presidents coming out to speak peace and calm to people. That's something that a lot of rappers are for us, because we don't have people at that level that we can look up to and be like, okay, I feel a sense of calm. And I think like a Cole or a Kendrick really do that and do it in such a way where you kind of feel like, all right, times is hard, but like if I hear Kendrick, all right, I'm good, they're definitely needed.
Does that make Jeezy a conscious rapper? Because when he dropped The Recession, I felt like that album reflected the time.
It does. I think Jeezy's so conscious. I think like him and T.I., like for some reason, they might not be pushed out in the mainstream as such, but they definitely are rappers we look to and that can give us our conscious rap.
Right. And you know what's interesting? They didn't make an announcement that they were going to make when they were putting out that music, they weren't saying, okay, I'm going to do a conscious album. I'm going to make conscious music. They just did it and they kind of snuck it in through the music and they were just being themselves. I think that instead of making a formal announcement like, hey, I'm about to do something conscious, just do it and see if it sticks the landing.
But I think the music also has to be good because when you listen to a record like Circulate, that record, it applies now, like the record Vacation. Who doesn't need one right now? It's very applicable to the times.
Right. And let's not forget, man, Jeezy gave us the soundtrack to Obama getting elected. My president is black. It wasn't Quali. It wasn't Mos Def. It wasn't like the stereotypical, so it comes in all forms. And he washed Nas on that record. Cleaned him up.
Oh my gosh.
Cleaned Nas up on that record. I'm still mad at that politician line, man.
Even with FDT,
no comment.
People expected that kind of a song from a Kendrick, but it came from YG and Nip. Like that,
right.
I think it hits harder when it comes from people you may not have first thought, oh, this is where my music's gonna come from, or the song, the themes of our days.
Right, and they just do it. They don't overthink it. They just put it out and let the public decide.
Letty, you're avoiding the question though because I know you spoke to J. Cole 10 minutes before this. When's the album coming?
He was already planning to drop. He was already campaigning like the Cole 2020. And I just feel like right now, people may be scrapping stuff they had originally wanted to push out. And they're trying to reevaluate. Because at the same time, we don't want an album that was made last year drop right now and it not be reflective of what's going on.
But we necessarily too. And when I say that, for the times, right? I don't need pandemic raps from Cole or Kendrick. It doesn't need to be explicitly about what's going on right now, but something that kind of fills you up when people are feeling empty. I think it'd be cool. And I think it would be successful as hell. Those guys, Cole releases in very untraditional ways. So he doesn't need the entire industry to be working at full steam because he always uses unorthodox methods anyway to get his music out there.
What a
right.
JB
He's
album.
not a guy that has to go do promo and tour and do all that behind it to make it work. It's going to go regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Would a Hove album be accepted right now? Would it?
He just gave us one. They just put Jay Electronica's name on it.
Hilarious.
All raps matter at this point, man. No matter who they're coming from.
Nah, but I appreciate having y'all on. Really, this was just an excuse to get my friends on a call so we could talk some shit. You know what I'm saying? Have these debates. I see y'all on Twitter. I see the hot takes. Andrew gets me mad all the time, but I love him to death, man. He makes me feel something, which is great.
That's all I'm trying to do. Let's start a dialogue.
Letty, this is the only way I can speak to Letty. I text her, she don't text me back. So this is the only way we can have a conversation.
My phone belongs to my babies when I'm at the house. It's their YouTube, it's their tablet.
And then, B.Dot, man, I'm glad, I could get you on, man. I know you're a busy guy. I know,
Busy guy. You know where I'm
He's
not
on the
at?
PJ. He's on a PJ headed somewhere right now.
Frequent trips to the Rolex dealer, you know what I'm saying, back and forth.
Not this year.
I get it.
I feel so honored to know you, B.Dot.
Stop it.
Letty got a Rolex too. Don't let her fool you, man.
I do.
I think I'm the only one.
Whether it works or not is a whole question. But it looks nice.
Nah, I appreciate y'all. Plug what's coming up next, man. Andrew, man, where you at, man? What you got coming up, man? Where can we check you out?
Man, just stay tuned to the socials. Everything's kind of on hold right now, but gonna be doing some new things and trying out some new content ideas and things like that. So just stay tuned to the socials at Fake Shore Drive.
Cool. Look forward to it. Letty, what's going on with you? What can we expect next?
I'm getting more into my writing and my poetry, and I know this may sound conscious, but I've been extremely encouraged to like move towards that and kind of come out with pieces and spoken word pieces that kind of can reflect for me what I'm feeling. I have a lot of emotions. So I'm just expressing that so I don't take it out on my husband. And you can find that on my Instagram, letty.set.go.
That's dope. We here for it. And B.Dot, man, what you got coming up, man?
Nothing. Nah, fuck with you.
and then tomorrow the J. Cole interview drops.
Right.
Let me tell you how B.Dot is a fucking liar. We're in a group chat. Don't hear from him from a couple of days, and he comes back. He was in Turkey or some shit like that.
It was hungry.
Sorry. And then 3 weeks later, it's a Will Smith interview. We didn't know nothing about it.
Damn, B.
That's the best way to do it, though. That's the best way to do it is like that.
I speak to B.Dot every day.
It's a bigger flex when you do it like that.
Drake,
You know what I'm saying?
Drake interview comes. Sorry, guys, I couldn't tell you. Damn, yo, you couldn't give us the heads up. Sorry, guys, I couldn't say anything.
I couldn't say anything. At least you know I know how to keep a secret, Rob.
True.
So, but
Heavy.
So
there
when
you go.
So when you say nothing is going on, I fully expect the J. Cole interview to drop tomorrow, is what you're saying.
You know, in the meantime, the Rap Radar podcast, we're coming back really soon. In the meantime, I'm also finally trying to work on this book that I've been procrastinating with for like the last couple months. And I think I'm about to start this new viral series on Instagram in the next couple weeks or so. So stay tuned for that.
Dope, man. We're all looking forward to it. I want to have y'all back, man. I just, again, this is just an excuse to kind of kick it with my friends and talk shit. And I appreciate everybody for watching. This is For the Record. Leave whatever comments you have in the comments. I talk back. I'll debate with y'all. I'll agree with y'all. Some of y'all takes is good. A lot of y'all takes might be horrible. But we're going to be in there. We're going to talk about it.
B.Dot.
And check us out next week, man. It's
Is
For
the baby
Record.
conscious though?
Yes.
Okay, we agreed.
Put that on the record.
I'm with
Peace.
it. Peace.